Hi, beautiful super soul sister. You are back, and I am so proud of you. Continuing on your journey, investing in yourself, stepping up, making it happen. I hope you're actually implementing some of the things that I'm suggesting, starting to notice, starting to wake up, starting to be aware. Before, you might have been a bit of a zombie, not intentionally. There's a lot of zombies in the world. I was one once until I got a wonderful teacher that woke me up. And that's all it takes. This is what it's all about. Is we're here to learn, we're here to get our lessons, and some of us will get them and some of us won't. And it is what it is. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today is let them be shoes. So I've got that song, who was it? John Lennon who sang that one. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be, whisper words of wisdom. Okay, I don't know if I can sing that good, but anyway, I've got that going on in my head. Had to share. Why? Don't know. Anyway, it's all fun, isn't it? Let 'em be shoes is really all about letting people just have the power of choice, empowering people to make their own decisions. And I know it sounds so like, oh yeah, but everybody does that. And actually, no, they don't. We really, really don't. And I've noticed it more and more over the recent years. And it's been really sad to witness. I don't know. It does depend on all the drivers. I don't know what they are. People have different motives for different things. But I mean, it's right down to, I loved how Wayne Dwyer used to put it. He said, even as parents, we think, they're here and we want to do the best thing by them, right? And we take it upon ourselves to tell them what is right and what's wrong and what they should do and what they shouldn't do. But quite often, without us realizing, if we haven't dealt with our baggage, the lessons that we're passing on aren't always actually in the best interest of that person. And when they have, a spirit comes into the body form, I love the way that he put it. It's like he says, the baby gets conceived, they go into the fetal form, they grow perfectly for 9 months during the gestation period, and then the baby comes out, and it's kind of like we go, thanks God, we'll take it over from here. Which is quite egotistical if you think about it. I mean, it's like, what, we know better than God, right? But of course then people say, well, he's not actually physically here to say, look, no, you can't be, don't play with glass because, if you break it, it could cut you or whatever, it's that kind of thing. So look, I get it, these guidelines, but I love what he said is like, and this is, I do try and practice this more than I ever did before, and I have to say it is challenging, but I like, Wayne was always talking about how we are here to guide rather than to force people to do stuff. So it's like, he says children, I'm just trying to remember his exact words or similar, we have to realize that children come through us, not for us. Okay, so this will be really prevalent with mums. Okay, so sometimes, dare I say it, there's a lot of leaning on children, these expectations for them to replace, it's hard on some kids because, if parents split, a child will take the place of the parent, or if one of the parents dies, or there's a lot of responsibilities and things put onto kids. And I'm not just talking about kids in general. I mean, this is just life in general with guiding. I take it to the next level, and it's like, my children are there, but we have to understand that they're free spirits. Like they came here to explore life, to grow, to learn and find their own paths, to wear their own shoes, to go on their own paths in their own way. And it's not for me to go, no, you can't walk that way. You have to walk on this path. This is how you're supposed to do it. And then we send them to a school and they go, no, you can't do it this way. You have to do it that way. Then you go to university and go, no, we won't have it this way. In society, we always do it this way, not that way. And then we go, oh, well, the government comes along and says, no, you can't do it this way. You have to do it that way. The medical institution comes along and goes, you have to have this and this and this and this and this in order to be able to, be whatever it is. And I'm like, just like, there's so many restrictions. It's like that poor, spirit that should be growing and testing and going, yeah, that works for me, and I like that path, and yes, that does work for me, and no, that doesn't, but that's okay. So I as much as I call myself a coach, I like to really think of myself more as a guide, because I'd rather have you guided on options where you choose. And even with coaching, sometimes there's a word around the coaching thing that sometimes implies that, you've got more answers than others, you're more experienced, therefore you know better. And yes, that is to a degree, but I don't look at it like that. I look at it as in I'm just further down the road, and these are wisdoms and learnings that I've learned that have helped me and have helped people who have come to me for help, and I have seen dramatic shifts in. But ultimately, at the end of the day, even if it doesn't sync with me, that whatever the decision is, ultimately it is that person's choice. It's up to them to decide whether they get that lesson or not. It's up to them to decide whether that's the right thing for them to do or not to. Or, I'm going to, it might be that they go, do you know what? No, you're talking absolute rubbish. I'm still going to carry on with my drinking shoes. It's not that bad. Well, actually, it might be. And look, that's not the answer I wanted. It makes me sad. It'll probably make the rest of the family sad, or whoever else is, around. But whatever the payoff is, remember we talked about the payoff shoes, the payoff is obviously still too much for them to actually want to change. Otherwise, they would change it, okay? A lesson they need to learn. It's got nothing to do with you. It's not for me to go, no, you are now having to go to AA. I absolutely forbid it. I mean, what kind of coach would I be if I was like that, It's like, at the end of the day, when you're ready, the teacher will appear. The guides, these are all guidelines. All these things that are teaching you are little steps that if you actually implemented them, and this is so important, don't just listen, actually do the little exercise that I suggest, or start looking for whatever the teaching is for that day and go, far out. Now that I've learned that, and that now helps me decide that actually I want to be on this path, and I want to be on this path with these people. Whereas I've been going down this path with those people, and you know what? That doesn't work. And man, it can be painful. Don't get me wrong. It can be hard when you're going, I've done so many years with these people on this path, and it feels far more comfortable. But really, I know for my soul growth, which is why, Super Soul Sisters, SOLE, but it's also SOUL. It's your soul path, SOUL path, that you have chosen to incorporate inside your soul shoes, SOLE shoes. This is why we do this stuff. And I want you to be empowered. There is no empowerment when you disempower somebody, when you say you have to do it this way. I will not have it done this way, and we have it across the board, you're not allowed to, and I understand all my 5s and 6s will be having wobbles here from the Enneagram, because they love all the structure and they love all that, no, this is how it's done. And it's, I like those rules and I like the regulations, and yes, but loose, within the boundaries of, you have to have some level of, control is not the right word, some level of guidance where it's like, obviously, if you're going to cause somebody harm, it's not okay to do that, but that's part of the right wearing shoes. Like, you wear, do no harm shoes, you wear be kind shoes. And I'm going to say here, real kind, not fake kind. And I am going to talk about that in another video. In fact, I might make that one of the next ones, because that's a whole different ball game right there. And even being consciously aware of that is key. But it's like, when you fundamentally get all these, you open your shoe cupboard and you go, those ones aren't right for me. I was told I always had to wear those shoes. Says who? If it doesn't work for you, don't friggin' wear them, man, And it's like, well, no, then it's going to cost me. It's going to, cost me because I'm not going to be able to hang out with so-and-so or do whatever. Is it serving you? That is the question. Is it serving you? Is it serving your soul? Or is it depleting you? Is it sucking the living soul out of you? If it is, kick those suckers off. You don't need them in your life. And this is where I want to get people to a point where they're brave enough to say, do you know what? I'm not okay with you pushing those rules on me and like saying you have to do it this way. If it really doesn't work for you, and don't use this, by the way, to justify your poor behavior. I have a lot of that. It's like, oh, well, Vicki Jane said, and it's like, no, Vicki Jane says this when it's in your best interest, when it serves your soul, when it helps you grow and flourish and nurture and be supportive to self and to others, where it's for the benefit of all, because we are one. Okay. I'm not talking about, I'm now justified because, I don't want to listen to mum or dad because, Vicki Jane said I can wear my own shoes, my own way, on my own path. No, that's defiance. That is a whole different ball game right there. You're just, doing your Spanish dancing shoes because you're wanting to get your own way, because of some payoff that is quite often, if you actually assessed it, is in a negative. The payoff is not going to be good. So the benefit you think is, say, oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to date whoever irrespective of, and they don't treat you well, and maybe they're into drugs and drinking and whatever. Seriously, you got to think about, where's that path going to get you if you're going to carry on down that way. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, if mum and dad are saying to you, don't do that, they kind of know, but ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to wear your shoes and you're going to learn the hard way. And so be it. If that is your journey, then so be it. They are here to learn their lessons, and it's painful. I mean, I can't tell you how many poor parents I've seen, particularly, and even in relationships, to be honest, where, the kids or the partners are so lost, or even family members, where the parents are like, we just actually at a loss. They are so far gone down the wrong path that they're like, how do we even get them back? And honestly, sometimes you can't. And it is their sole decision. They have made that decision a long time ago, and it's up to them. All we can do is be here when they're ready, right? So it's all about not the non-controlling side. Let go of the need to control, let go of the need to change the outcome so it suits you. Respect that those people get to wear their shoes on their own path, their own way. If you don't like them, so be it. I quite like the change personally. I quite like the fact that people have different shoes, and it's like, it doesn't work for me, but it makes the whole world go round. If we're all doing our different things in different ways, it makes life colorful, and they might be on a completely different path to me. They're probably not people I would choose to have on my path, but at least I am consciously aware of it. Now I am consciously deciding whether I'm going to let them onto my path, let them into my zone, have my little bubble with my group of super soul sisters like you joining me in my Facebook group. That's what I want. I want to have, super soul sisters that are nurturing, that empower, that support, that are connected, that go, hey sister, let me help you. You know, is there anything I can do? They make a decision. I may not totally agree, or somebody else may not totally agree. There's no judgment, there's no criticism. It's like, I just want you to be happy and make the most of your life and your time here. What time you've got left, make it count. Step up, step into your shoes today and go, you know, and if somebody tries to come into my zone and says, you got to do it this way, we just go with our no thank you shoes. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. And I don't care who it is. I don't care how big the institution is. I don't care if it's government or pharmaceutical or medical, or, you know, if it's unis or whatever, you pick whatever, councils, I don't know, pick anything. Or if it's even a group of friends, or if it's a family member, I don't care who it is. If it is not in sync with the soul path of you being here, and you know that in your heart of hearts you're doing the right thing the way that you know best in your heart, and you're following your true purpose, then you can go, do you know what, I'm really sorry it doesn't work for you, but no thank you. My no thank you shoes are saying I'm not okay with that, and I choose to continue down my own path. But and I'm not going to have a big hissy fit. I'm not going to do my Spanish dancing. I'm not going to go rah rah rah, I'm doing it my way, and I'm you know, fight you and argue till I'm blue in the face. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just going, I'm not playing that game. I'm just not going to do it. And let them take their path, and whatever their path is, good luck, you know. And quite often, dare I say, quite often, I find that they get down the road and they go, ooh, actually, this is not a great place to be. Oh, I had trauma in my background. That's why I'm having to disempower someone in order to empower myself, you know. It's not even empowerment. To gain power, to gain control. There's no empowerment in disempowerment at all, you know. So you got to, you know, and this is where a lot of people fall short. A lot of politicians, a lot of you know, big corporate leaders, big business owners, you know, they feel that there's a need to get more control by controlling others, and the more that they control, therefore they must be more powerful. I often find that comes from a trauma or several depending in their early childhood that hasn't been addressed, and at some stage they'll end up regretting in a big way because they have lost everybody. They're very alone. They may have lots of money, but they've got no real friends. If people are signed up with them, they're not very nice people. So eventually they get it, and sometimes they don't. You know, sometimes they'll just move on, and they'll just, I suppose, have to come back in another lifetime and learn the hard way. I don't know. Who knows? But the benefit of this wisdom is that we get to choose now. We get to say, hey, I am a super soul sister. I am doing my way, my shoes, my path, my way. And I really hope, I would love for you to just have a pair of these shoes on and just go, wow, do you know what, I never thought about it. Thank you for that lesson today. Now, if that helped, let me know. Just even a thumbs up, that would be good if you're in YouTube. Otherwise, please join us in Facebook, and let me know if this made any difference or created a little bit of a shift for you, and start going, I notice that person does that for me, and you know, maybe you want to discuss it, and maybe you don't. That's also fine. Maybe you can just be there for other people and help guide them. All right, my darlings, you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you next time. Okay, you take care now. Bye.